Anytime you beg another man to set you free, you will never be free. Freedom is something that you have to do for yourself.
Alright, in this video I kind of wanted to talk about how really we're in this situation because of the choices that we've made. And for a long time now, we've been tricked into making choices that really we should never have made to begin with. And it's going to be hard for people to make the changes that are necessary to stop government-imposed digital ID, largely because they've also made it addictive to use the platforms that collect your data, package that data, and then hand it off to Palantir, advertisers, and the government. So I mean, really...
Listen, we fucked up.
We're to blame. We've made a bunch of really bad choices over the last 20 years in the technology choices that we've adopted. I previously, before I had this phone that I'm filming on now, I had a BlackBerry. I had a BlackBerry Key 2. Now, I'm going to just say that that phone, it had a software that was tied into the hardware on the phone. So anytime you had an application access your microphone or your camera, you got a notification. And I learned so much by having that phone about how often what you do on your phone is monitored. I mean, just as an example, I'd be driving home, listening to the radio, not talking to anyone on my phone. Maybe I'm singing to the songs on the radio. And I'd get home and I'd see there's a notification on my phone. Google accessed your microphone for 45 minutes. Just listening to me while I'm singing in the car, driving, with the radio playing. People really don't understand how much they're giving away to these shadowy forces, and it really shows because you go on social media. You go on Twitter, you go on Facebook, you go on Instagram, and you see all these people commenting about how we need to resist digital ID. But in using those platforms, you're giving the data away necessary for that system to operate. So really, you can't go on these platforms and spend your entire your entire online existence on these platforms where they're packaging your data and giving it to Palantir and the government and then expect to not have a social credit system. You're facilitating it through your choices. Now, I would love to say that, hey, you just need to make a change. You got to just use these alternative systems instead. But unfortunately, those haven't been built out yet. I mean, there are things that I would say definitely check out, like treechat.ai. I'll put a link to that in here. Now, I don't know a whole lot about treechat.ai in terms of how much they would collect, but I mean, it is a public forum, essentially, where anyone could look at what you've said there and use it against you. And I think really people are just completely out to lunch on this aspect of the equation where you're giving them everything they need to use against you, freely, on a silver platter. Every time that you click, I agree on the terms and agreements of something you've never even read. Now, I applied to Ontario Paramedic Services. And again, I found out that the government was spying on me a year before everyone else in 2012 when I applied for my firearms license. Because I was looking into the free man movement as an intellectual curiosity. And the moment that I told them I wasn't interested in actually pursuing that it was just something I was looking into, they granted me my firearms license. But that made me deeply aware, because in 2012, it was a crackpot conspiracy theory that the government watches what you do online. And now we've all accepted, over the course of just 13 years, I mean, really, as soon as Edward Snowden came out with that revelation, people just accepted that that's just the way it is. That was when we should have made changes. But we didn't, and it's our fault now that we're going to be used, all this information we give away freely is going to be used against us in a digital ID system.
We fucked up.
So, I mean, the fault lies at our feet. We've done this to ourselves by freely giving this information away and not building out systems that preserve our privacy but exploit us at every turn.
Oh no, here it is right here. By clicking agree, you are also acknowledging that Apple may sew your mouth to the butthole of another iTunes user. Oh boy. Apple and its subsidiaries may also, if necessary, sew yet another person's mouth onto your butthole, making you a being that shares one gastral tract. I'm going to click on decline.
Now, I brought up my application to Ontario Paramedic Services because being aware of how this works, when I was forced to go through the application process online, there's terms and agreements that you had to agree on. So when I actually opened up and read that, and I told people about this because it was crazy to me what I read. I'm applying to a job as a paramedic, to be a paramedic in Ontario Paramedic Services. I read the terms and agreements of the online portal that you had to use to apply. Part of that terms and agreements said that they would get your browser history, that your browser information that through the browser you were using to apply would be sent to them. So they'd see your search history, they'd see your browser history. Now I'm probably like 1 in 1,000 people, way more than that, probably like 1 in a million people who would actually go through and read that line by line, the entire terms and agreements. And to be perfectly honest, I only do that when it's important because it takes too long. If you actually had to go through that, like things like a job application, I was like, oh, maybe I should be aware of what this is. People don't realize how much they're giving away. And you're giving it all away. All of these problems that we have now are because we haven't taken control of our information. We're just giving it all away.
I can't laugh, my brother, it ain't funny. You say you don't support the beast, but you gave money.
And I'm sorry, all these people who are saying, oh, we're going to resist digital ID, but you're not advocating for systems that preserve your information and allow you to protect it. You're doing all of this on platforms where you're giving it all away. You're giving them tens of thousands of dollars worth of data, and they're not compensating you for it, and you're not demanding compensation. We need to start saying, hey, this information belongs to us. Because if we don't do that, it's going to be used against us. So, I mean, we have to make a lot of changes. And if we refuse to make those changes, you're not going to resist digital ID. You can't keep going on and living the way that you've been living, giving all this information away, and then expect to resist these centralized control systems that you're feeding that information into. I mean, if you don't want a digital credit system, stop feeding the beast your data. Starve the beast of your information so they can't be using it against you. And I know there's a big surge in dumb phones being used. That's okay. I mean, again, you're starving the beast. Don't give them the information. That's a good idea. But people want these things. You want social media sites. You want the convenience of these new online technologies. But really, we have not built them out in a way where the individual is empowered. We've built them out so that the individual gets exploited. And that's what's really drawn me into the BSV communities, because there's actually people there who want to change this. So, I mean, I said in an earlier video, if you want to look at people who are actually trying to help you, people who are actually trying to make a difference and change our online environment so that we're not just feeding the beast all this information that's used against us. Check out London Blockchain. Now, I mean, there are some big financial interests, corporate interests, who will be there trying to build out systems that take advantage and exploit our data. But there's also a good community of people who are trying to prevent those things there. Because, I mean, technology, it's like a gun. You could use a gun for good or bad. You can use technology for good or bad. And really, the choices that we've made, we've been making the wrong choices so that all this information can be used against us. Now, let me just say, I've shit on these social media platforms that I use myself, but I mean, this is where everyone's gathering and talking about these things. So for the next little while, we need to have these discussions there. But I mean, I'm currently banned from Twitter for a comment that shouldn't have got me banned. And I mean, I was banned for 10 out of 12 months during the pandemic when they rolled out the vaccines. That year the vaccine rollout happened, I was banned for 10 out of 12 months from Facebook. So I mean, I've been using Twitter since Elon Musk took it over because I was actually able to say the things that I want to say freely until just recently. And really, these people can stop the conversation if they want. So if they want to shut up the conversation, they can make it not trend. They could make it shadow ban you, make sure that you're not getting traction and not getting exposure. These people hold all of the power. And we're operating in a way, in an environment where they hold all the power. And if we want to actually make change to prevent the social credit system from taking place and resist digital ID systems, we have to stop giving it all away to these people. Like, we really have to recognize that this doesn't serve our interests and that in using these platforms, we're screwing ourselves. So the conversations kind of have to start there because that's where everyone is gathering online right now. But if you're not planning to transition away from those things, you're not planning to resist, you're giving in. So, I mean, keep using these systems for the next little while with the idea in mind that we have to get something better. If you're not going to push for that, you're not fighting back. You're just going to accept whatever's happening to you. So, I mean, we need to equip each other with the idea that we can empower ourselves instead of just giving it all away, because right now that's all we're doing. And I can't stress this enough, the blame lies at our feet.
What's that? What's that you're saying? You want out? Are you saying you want out? Fine, you don't want to be part of this? Then just sign right here. No, you didn't read it! This says we don't ever have to let you out and then we can do whatever we want! Damn it, why won't it read?
If you're not willing to make any changes, you're going to end up with a social credit system. Because you're giving all the information to the beast that they can use against you. I can't say this enough. I'm going to sound like a broken record in this video probably, but people don't get it. You don't read the terms and agreements. You don't understand how much you're giving away. You don't understand the value of what you're giving away. And if you did understand the value of it, you wouldn't give it away freely because it's tens of thousands of dollars potentially. So, I mean, really, we need to take back control of our information and control of our money. These things go hand in hand. And really, the only thing that does that is blockchain. And a highly scalable blockchain like BSV. So, I mean, my focus when I go to London Blockchain next month, or sorry, the end of this month, it's coming up, 3 weeks from now. About 3 weeks from now, I think. A little less than that, maybe. Yeah, I mean, we need to restructure the tech landscape. And the problem is they're going to try to rush this in. The people in power are desperate. They know that we can use technology to make honest governments again. To make it so that the governments actually serve the will of the people instead of the private donors who fund their campaigns, the special interest groups, the people who have blackmail on our politicians that are using the Epstein list to blackmail them into doing whatever they want. I mean, we need to kind of come to the reality that our governments no longer serve us at all. That they've completely been usurped by private special interests, banks, and let's be real, I think Palantir is probably spying on politicians to blackmail them and coerce them into doing what they want as well. Not just the people who have the Epstein files. So really, something has to be done about the way our governments operate, because really, no matter what we do, these people are not going to be loyal to us. The people who are holding that blackmail over them, that are bribing them into doing what they want, their loyalty lies 100% to them and not to the people. So that's something I'm going to address in a later video. But really, if you're looking for someone to blame, the blame lies at our feet. And it's going to take a while. There's going to be a stopgap period where once people even figure this out, hopefully we do figure this out, hopefully this message gets through to people before they go through and accept a digital ID that's going to lead to a social credit system. If people can figure that out, we're going to need a stopgap period of years to actually build out new technologies that serve our interests rather than the beast. So, I highly recommend checking out the people who are in the BSV community who are actively saying that we can use these technologies to give power back to the individuals that we've wrongly, over the course of many decades, been tricked into giving away to people who are now going to use that against us in the worst way possible. So, I mean, the choice is ours, and really whether or not we get trapped in a social credit system is going to depend on whether or not we're willing to make changes. And I know change is hard, but I think making a change in the way that you use social media and the way that you present your information online is a lighter change to make than accepting a social credit system that's going to permanently change your life for the worse. I mean, we can have our cake and eat it too, to a certain extent, where we can create systems that can't just harvest our data and use it against us. I said this many times in these videos now. Everything we do is a choice, and the choices that we make going forward and the choices that have led us to this position that we're in now, we have to stop looking to these people on top, to these centralized authorities, the people in our government, and the big tech companies that are never going to share our interests because their interests are completely contrary to ours. We have to stop looking up to these people, and we have to take the power back that we've wrongly given away to them back. We have to take that power back. We have to start taking our information back. And honestly, we have to take our governments back. And the only way we can do that is with technology, because the influence and the leverage that people with a lot of money and blackmail material have over our government is greater than the leverage the citizens hold over them now. Which is why the balance of power has shifted, and we're never going to get that back. Because they have so much more leverage over our politicians than we do. And they're just going to get their way unless we recognize that that's the reality and we act in our own interests again. Because right now we're just letting them trick us into enslaving us through our own consent. We need to revoke that consent. We need to take that consent away and say no more. This isn't going to happen anymore. And again, to make this happen in a way that we actually can stop this, we have to stop using these platforms that exploit us. And we have to start supporting the people who are presenting a better alternative. And we have to fund those alternatives and make it actually possible for us to operate and interact online in a way that doesn't trap us in a social credit system that we're never going to escape from. So, I mean, I see so much talk about resisting digital ID online on platforms that are feeding the beast. You can't go onto these platforms and feed the beast your data and then beg it not to use that information against you. You're offering it up on a silver platter. You're offering yourself up on a silver platter. I mean, you can't offer yourself to the beast on a silver platter and ask it not to devour you. That's exactly what you're doing. You're trapping yourself. So, I mean, we can stop using these things. We can build out systems that protect and preserve our data. But it's going to take time. And again, how we get that time when this is being forced on us imminently is the topic for another video.